Hello again, everybody, and happy holidays. Welcome to Sewell, New Jersey, the home of Washington Township High School and the site of today's South Jersey Group 4 Championship between Washington Township and Shawnee. I'm Jack Hibbard. Along with Mike Lindner today, we are, as you can see, just about set for the opening kickoff. Washington Township kicking away to Shawnee to start this one, and we are underway. A little trouble with the kickoff by John Bartelli. Check that. That is number 34, Rick Engel of Shawnee, and Shawnee's Rick Engel across the 25, where the Renegades will bring the offense out, led by senior Bill Kurtz. What a terrific year he's had, thrown for over 1,400 yards. 18 touchdowns this year on 99 of 179 passing. He's been hot down the stretch. So has Shawnee, Mike, as they have reeled off 7 straight victories to find themselves here in the South Jersey Group 4 Championship.
Yep, about the best thing happened to them is they played Washington Township about, 6-7 games ago. They were 3-2 at that point. Came up with a big upset victory, 21-14. They've been on a roll ever since.
It is Engel, the ball carrier, to start things for Shawnee, and a pretty effective run out to the 34 for a gain of nearly 8 or 9. Here's a look at the starting lineup. We told you about Kurtz, Luke Bonus, and David Kellum in the backfield along with Rick Engel. The tight end is Joe Phelan, and the wide receiver, Dan McDonald. He's a good one. Kamsula, Fetterman, Reed, Holcomb, and Taylor up front for the Renegades.
Great shape, picking up 9 yards on that first down play. Gives them the option here. See if Kurtz, who's been hot, as you pointed out, wants to throw it. Now they'll go for the first down.
Engel's got it, tries to get to the first down, needed to get across the 35, and he is very close. The defensive lineup this afternoon for the Minutemen. Up front, it ended its deal along with the tackles Calvin and Walsh. Mussolina is the defensive end on the other side. The linebackers, a good crew. Holmes, Cantwell, D'Imperio, and Nysick. In the backfield is Calacura, who also serves as quarterback, Cianci, and David Darby. And that's one that we've got to look for. Darby is not out there as a starter. We'll talk more about that in a moment. 1st and 10. For the Renegades, and we've got flags on this before they can get off. By the way, Darby is now out in the defensive secondary, and that was a game-time decision. Here's the call.
Encroachment, defense.
Jack Benkin is the referee. You see the rest of the crew there. This crew, by the way, sent down by the state from the North Jersey region. They usually go with a crew from out of the area, especially for championship games. Jack Benkin, the referee, leads that crew. 1st down and 5 now after the penalty. Engel again, the lone back. This time they give it to the man in the slot. That's number 18, David Kellum, and Kellum gets out across the 45 and is close to another first down. You know, Mike, this is what Shawnee did in the first game in the second half against these guys. That's run the ball effectively.
Well, the big block is right there by 89. Joel Phelan, the tight end, who just took his man and drove him downfield about 10, 11 yards, pick up another first down. But I do still expect to see Kurtz get that ball in the air. I know that their game plan is trying to control the clock and keep Washington Township off the offensive side of the ball, but I think it comes down to Kurtz sooner or later.
A lot will depend if they can continue to knock off 8, 9 yards a carry. They don't do it on this run, as Luke Bonus is stopped after only a gain of 1 or 2. Ryan Walsh and a host of blue shirts in there for Washington Township.
They do a great job up front. Mussolino, Calvin, Walsh, and Deal, and they do such a great job handling the blockers to let the linebackers get to the point of attack in a hurry, and they respond so well. That's why D'Imperio and Cantwell lead the team in tackles. A couple of guys like that in the inside, and you pretty much tackle to tackle can close down most high school running games.
Shawnee has held the ball now for 2.5 minutes on this opening drive. 2nd down, approaching the midfield area, and Kurtz will attempt to throw for the first time today. He tries to swing it out to Chris Foran. Warren couldn't hang on across midfield. It falls incomplete. It'll bring up 3rd down.
Strange looking play. It looked like it was developed into a screen. They had one of the linemen out there, Jack Kamsula, number 69. You'll see him outside leading the play downfield. Looked like he may have even been down across the line of scrimmage. See him right there, number 69. And that play just never set up the way it was intended. Wasn't the way it was drawn, that's for sure.
They got some pressure from Walsh that time, too, but you saw him slip at midfield. We'll talk about the conditions of this field. Actually, almost a miracle that it's in the kind of shape that it is after the weather that we've had here in the Delaware Valley this week. Third down. Kurtz with more time this time. He tries to swing it out, and it's picked off. Picked off in there by the big tight end and also the defensive linebacker Hugh D'Imperio, and D'Imperio has the first turnover of the ball game. And Mike, both coaches talked about protecting the ball. Washington Township gets the first one today.
Well, let me tell you, this is a guy that's Division I written all over him. Only a junior, but huge at 6'4", 6'5", 230 pounds. But drops back into his area in the zone and just steps right across, gets the Kurtz pass, and then takes it upfield. You will be hearing a lot about this guy for another year in high school. More importantly, going to hear about him at the next level. There is not an ounce of body fat on that gentleman's body. Where else it would be, I don't know.
Washington Township with a first down in Shawnee territory, and they go right away to the ground, and they go with big number 36, Ryan Cantwell. Cantwell inside the 35 to the 33-yard line. Healthy pickup on first down.
Now you take a look at this. Nothing really fancy, just a straight power smash, straight ahead. But look at Darby coming down, trying to clean up on the linebacker. If he were able to get that block, number 37, Darby, he would have gone a lot longer. Cantwell would have had probably another 10-15 yards.
David Darby, by the way, did not play in the first game between these two. He's been hampered almost all season long with a hamstring or right thigh problem, and he gets the call here on second down, slips before he can get to the line of scrimmage, and that'll be a little shy of the first down.
Yeah.
Here's a look at that offense. There's a look at Darby getting up from his first carry. Calicura, of course, is the quarterback. Dan Holmes, David Darby, and Ryan Cantwell in the backfield. The receiver is Logan. D'Imperio had the interception moments ago as the tight end. Up front, it's Patterson, Miller, Nisek, Walsh, and Cowden, the offense for Washington Township.
You know, with that hamstring problem that Darby has, that slip they saw as he was approaching the center line is not what they wanted to observe at all. That could just give him a real problem.
Well, he looked a little slow getting up from that run. He'll come right back. This time it's number 22, Dan Holmes, and Holmes on first down inside the 30 to the 27-yard line. Here's a look at the defensive lineup for the Renegades this afternoon. Ian McDowell along with Garin the ends, Toll and Blasik are the tackles. The linebackers, Foreign, Myers, Sorenza, and in the backfield it's Bonus, Gartland, Kellum, and Dan McDonald. Not only a terrific free safety, but also an outstanding receiver.
Yeah, McDonald been around the program. This is his third year of starting. Get into a Group 4 school and start as a sophomore, you know you're a real talent.
On second down, Calicura faked the pass, then takes off. He can be a threat on the ground. In fact, in the first contest between these two teams, he rushed for over 100 yards. He's got a first down for the Minutemen at the 25.
Big thing here is for the quarterback to read the hole. Makes that fake, and then he sees it open up. Gets a great block across the front by Ryan Walsh, 67, and then downfield Cowden, the center, opens it up for him and gets him to the first down territory. Good read, good option determination by Calicura.
Well, both coaches, Mike, before the ball game talked about the importance of protecting the ball. The Washington Minutemen trying to make Shawnee pay for an early mistake here. Cantwell, the big fullback, dives over the pile inside the 20 or inside the 15 for a yard or two.
Interesting movement here. They bring the wingback Holmes back inside, who turns upfield and tries to be the lead blocker. The play just really didn't develop in time as the defensive line, Blasik and Garin particularly, were able to close it down.
Brings up a second down and long. 9 yards for a first down. They need to get it to the 5-yard line for a first. Spread the offense this time. D'Imperio, the tight end, way at the top of your screen. In fact, out of your picture that way. They go back inside to Cantwell. Cantwell to the 7, dragging guys along with him. Hanging on for dear life that time for Shawnee was Ian McDowell.
Straight ahead blocking, as you can see here, and fullback Cantwell does exactly what a fullback's supposed to do. Put the shoulder down, straight ahead, get what you can get. Nothing fancy, no moves to the right, moves to the left, just power smash forward. Get it within a couple of yards of the first down.
Well, Washington Township has outscored opponents 98-20 in the first quarter. They're trying to get the first points here this afternoon. Third and just a couple. Inside again. Cantwell tripped over his own man, gets to the 5. It'll depend on the spot, and it looks like he's got enough for the first down.
He got a good foot there. He got left foot, I think. In any event, it's past the stripe. The one linesman, if they use his mark.
And referee Jack Benkin signals the first down. That's a 1st and goal for Washington Township. Cantwell, as you can see, Mike, just a powerful force in the backfield.
Yeah, he had to break 3 tackles in order to get to the first down stripe and was able to do that.
5.5 minutes to go here in the opening quarter of the South Jersey Group 4 Championship. 2nd-seeded Washington Township against the 6th seed Shawnee. The Minutemen threatening here, 1st and goal. Calacura stopped in the backfield. Shawnee didn't bite the fake that time, and David Kellum for the Renegades stayed at home to make the hit on Calacura.
Well, you know, that's a play they were prepared for because it's the big play that he was able to run in that first game, although it was a loss for Township. He was a primary ground gainer in that game, and it was off that fake, and we'd seen that play earlier. This time, Kellum, as he no doubt had practiced all week, stayed at home where he belonged and was able to make the tackle and pick up the loss.
Calacura had 132 yards on just 11 carries in that first game against Shawnee. Darby in motion inside to Cantwell. Cantwell again just a yard or 2. Underneath the pile was Ryan Blasik.
Third time he's come up strong already, number 79. He's a big one, 6'4", 270 pounds. And look at him fight off the block. Did a great job. Nizak there trying to move him. And Blazak, the big guy, was able to fend him off with one shoulder and then make the tackle with the other.
Well, Mike, in typical Washington Township fashion, this is the 10th play of the drive.
Okay, we're rolling right, pass run option. What do you think?
We'll see how they play it. You saw Calacura look to the sideline for the call. Darby again in motion, going to that right side, and there they roll that way. Cantwell is a lead blocker, but Calacura in trouble. Hit at the 5, in fact, pushed back a yard or 2. Swarming defense that time by the Shawnee Renegades.
Well, you know, that's the play you want to get your quarterback out there where he has an option, some kind of judgment he can make, Calacura, but nobody opened in the end zone at all. Sal had to take the ball and tuck it. It looked like he made the decision real early, didn't he? And there is an excellent defensive play as they fight off the block. Gartland does and comes up with a big tackle. Going to force the field goal attempt. Well, that's what you call defensive stand, isn't it?
That's for sure. Terrific job by Gartland to force that play inside. No place to go for Calacura. Here's Logan now, as Mike mentioned, attempting a 25-yard field goal. It's got plenty of distance. It's good. The cannon goes off, and at 3:05 left here in the first quarter, Washington Township uses the interception, drives down the field in 10 plays, and caps it off with a 25-yard field goal. They lead it 3-0. Well, you know, Mike, if you're Shawnee, you have to say, well, the only thing that had been better is if we'd have stopped them cold. You know, it's remarkable, Mike, even that this game is being played what it is. We're 48 hours delayed, originally scheduled for Friday night this week, but as anybody who lives in this area knows, this place was covered with white stuff. Here's a look at what it looked like on Friday, which was a beautiful day, but they had some 50 people here on Friday, including some heavy machinery trying to clear this field, and honestly, both you and I were down there, Mike. They did an outstanding job getting this thing ready. Had to move it once, had hoped to play yesterday afternoon, but instead a rare Sunday matinee, but really the field in pretty good shape this afternoon for this one.
Yeah, a lot of credit goes to Dave Smith and that whole crew that got together. Dave Smith, the Woodstown Warrior, got over here, head groundskeeper, and did a super job. I figured when I was here, it looked to be about 10.5, 11 inches of snow out there, and to think that you take a look at the field now and you say, how in the world are they playing like this? Looks like it didn't even snow except after you get outside the stripes. And
really, there are only a couple of rough spots. They go again with that line drive kick. It's going to be fielded by Shawnee's Ian McDowell, and McDowell, not much room for him as he gets to the 32-yard line, and the Renegades will try it again on offense. 10 plays, 42 yards, the drive by Washington Township. They took 6 minutes off the clock, and that was one of the concerns from Coach Tim Gushew. There's the return again by McDowell.
Special teams did their job, did they? Got in there, buried him after about 4 or 5 yards.
Well, they clearly, at least the strategy appears, Mike, not to want to kick deep. And remember, McDonald has a touchdown and a couple of on a kickoff and a couple of punt returns for TDs. Kellum from the slot. Another healthy pickup of 4 or 5 out to the 39-yard line.
Well, we saw this play in the opening series twice where they bring Kellum across. This time they get the lead blocker Bonus out in front. Bonus just a sophomore. I'll tell you what, you got to be a great player. He's gone both ways on this Shawnee Group 4 football team as a sophomore, but he's able to get a little block and maybe a couple of more yards for Kellum.
Second down after the pickup of 7 by Kellum. 2 receivers, top of the screen this time for Shawnee. They'll run it that way. This is Rick Engel, and Engel meets Mr. Cadwell back at the 36-yard line.
Shawnee came out, went unbalanced to the far side this time. First time they've shown that alignment. It did not appear that Township read it and adjusted, but tell me Cantwell read it. He certainly made a super play. Ryan Cantwell, number 36, comes in sees the opening, shoots the gap, gets a little help, but he didn't really need it. Not a bad size either. I'm 5'10", 210 pounds. What nice size.
Give some credit to Mussolino that time, who forced that play inside also. Third down and in trouble again in the backfield. This time it's Luke Bonus being thrown backwards. And again, Bob Cowden along with Justin Deal in to make the stop for Washington Township.
Well, they're beating them off the line now. Their charges, and that's where you usually see a game change if it changes at all. The offensive men cannot get the initial surge. They know the count. They should be out there in front. Instead, the defenders are responding more quickly at the snap of the ball.
Well, Shawnee, who moved the ball pretty effectively on the ground before the interception on their first series. 1, 2, 3 and out here. Kevin Dybowski will kick it away. Gets some pressure, but gets a pretty good kickoff. Jesse Cooper picks it up late at the 25 and now will be thrown all the way back to the 16-yard line. Not a good decision by Cooper. Washington Township will start deep in their own end. They lead it 3-0. Under a minute to go here in the first quarter of the South Jersey Group 4 Championship. The Minutemen of Washington Township with a 3-0 lead and a first down on their own 16. Holmes carries for Washington Township and gets all the way into the Shawnee secondary before being met by Dan McDonald at the 24.
They have such good size in the backfield. We Cantwell at 210, Darby at 190, and Holmes at 205. You just get those guys out in front to help you block, and it's like having another lineman at the high school level. But then everything goes forward, get those shoulders parallel to the line, and drive forward.
Well, they also had a pretty good pulling guard that time in Chris Nizick, 6'1", 225, the senior out in front of that play. 2nd and 3 could be the last play of the first quarter as we're under 20 seconds to go. Calacura again to Holmes, who came from the slot and got stopped in the backfield. Messing that play up for Washington Township was Shawnee's Ryan Blasik.
Again.
And that ought to do it for the first quarter of play. We thought it would be tight. So far it is. After 1 quarter at Washington Township, the score, the Minutemen 3, the Renegades nothing. We'll be back in a moment. Along with Mike Lindner, I'm Jack Hibbard. Welcome back to Washington Township. The Minutemen, as you can see, with a 3-0 lead as we get set for the second quarter. 3rd and 4. For the Minutemen, Calacura's first pass is overthrown. Good coverage out there by Dan McDonald on the intended receiver, David Darby.
It looked like they only had the one man downfield. Right? Normally, when you go into the flat like that, you want somebody deep, somebody at the next level, and then somebody short like Darby. But that time, Calacura winds up with one man on a 3rd down situation and is unable to get him with the easy coverage by the defensive backs.
So 4th down in a punting situation, a situation that I think if you ask Coach Brown, he'd like to avoid as much as possible here. They had some problems in this department the first time around. They mainly dealt with the snap. That's a good snap. And a short kick that's going to bounce at the 48 and take a Washington Township bounce It'll be stopped and deadened at the 39-yard line of Shawnee. So all things considered, nice bounce, good roll, and not a bad punt.
And important for that is Shawnee to have stopped Washington Township on that last offensive series. First quarter, they had difficulty doing it. Township holding the ball is 7 minutes and 10 seconds. Shawnee had it for 4:50. Shawnee's going to have to hold the ball a lot longer, as you pointed out early, Jack.
We mentioned Washington Township 10-1 this year. The only loss coming to the Shawnee Renegades, 21-14 in week number 6. Since then, the Renegades have been on a 7-game winning streak. They are 9-2 entering this one. Kurtz on the run, in trouble, and he'll be tackled at the 37-yard line. Nobody to throw to, and terrific pursuit that time by Hugh D'Imperio. The junior is off to a good start this afternoon.
Yeah, what you're going to look for from a linebacker, big-time linebacker, is the closing speed. Watch how D'Imperio just closes the distance down here. Nothing Kurtz can do about it when you have this big guy coming after you. Here he is. Fill the hole, get to this player, and throw him backwards.
Well, Kurtz did a good job to only lose 1 on that. It'll be 2nd and 11.
Remember, that's after D'Imperio is coming from the far side linebacker spot and also out of a coverage.
Well, he's a big-time player with a lot of people looking at him. 6'5", 230 junior is D'Imperio. They swing it out to the weak side this time and have Rick Engel complete, but nailed at the 40-yard line for a pickup of only 2.
Pretty play that time. Designed so there's a fake first to the far side with one of the backs swinging out of the backfield. Quarterback Kurtz looks in that direction, pumps fake one, try to get the linebackers to go, and then turns, comes back with the screen to the near side. But again, look at the closing speed and the reaction time of the defense from Washington Township. I don't know who it was at the bottom of the pile, but he did a great job. He went after 2 blockers first.
Well, Mike,
let them get him.
You know, it looked like in the line's defense that time Engel should have headed right to the sideline. He had to look like a pretty good wall to head down the line, but didn't. Kurtz under extreme pressure, and he's sacked all the way back at the 30-yard line. The pressure right off the snap from Justin Deal, the defensive end, who got him for his first sack of the ball game.
He read that one perfectly. The junior, 6'4", 220, reads it, hits his man, sees the movement of Kurtz. He knows that he has responsibility after him, sheds his blocker, gets rid of a guy with no problem at all, and then with the speed that we're seeing from these defensive linemen is just remarkable.
You know, Washington Township was concerned about Kurtz throwing. He's tried it 5 times, only completed once, and has had 2 sacks, an interception, and an incomplete in there. The punt on the line drive is fielded by Cooper back at the 35. He again running east to west, will lose a yard on the return. Well, Jesse Cooper's had his struggle so far in punt returns this afternoon, and good coverage by the Renegades downfield.
You get a sense that he wants to break it, doesn't he? He knows where he wants to get to the sideline, has that initial burst of speed, but good coverage. Oh, there was a nice move there, but excellent job done to finally stop him by bonus. That sophomore coming up again with a big play.
Well, no surprise so far that we have seen these defenses perform well coming into this one. Both teams averaging on defense under 10 points a contest.
Shawnee giving up 8.8. Washington Township not much more than that. In fact, a little less, I think.
Cantwell across the 35 to the 38-yard line. Underneath the pile to make the stop for Shawnee was Chris Myers, the linebacker.
We're going to go with that straight ahead blast again, but this time the linebackers from Shawnee are able to read it. Chris Myers, number 32, defensive signal caller, has great reaction time according to his coaches. Reads plays well, as all linebackers must.
Cantwell so far has gotten the bulk of the workload, 25 yards on 7 carries, 2nd and 6 for Washington Township. This time it's Holmes who gets 2 across the 40 to the 41.
You know, Myers gets in there again this time with his shoulder, number 32, and he defeats the trap block leading the way. Watch the power trap coming. As Ryan Walsh, 67, tried to get upfield, but read well and reacted to well by Chris Myers. Big play here for Shawnee.
Approaching the 8-minute mark here in the second quarter.
Able to hold him here, be the second offensive series in a row, forced the punt.
Minutemen 1 of 3 so far on third down conversions. Everybody in tight this time, and Calacura will try to take off with it, and there to meet him right away was David Kellum. Calacura turned around and saw nothing but 1-8 in blue numbers on a white shirt, and Kellum with a terrific play to make the stop.
We'll have to see where he comes from. Kellum, of course, lines up at safety normally. This time he just comes quickly from the right side on some kind of a safety blitz and nearly gets the face mask and does not, and throws him down like a steer, huh?
Well, Mikey had to avoid the block by Chris Nizick to make his second sack of the ball game.
Not the easiest thing to do, to avoid a block from Nizick.
So on 4th and long, they'll punt it again. Second time in a row they've had to do that. It's another short kick. Angle touched it. That's a muffed punt. Who has the ball? Washington Township at the 39.
Yep.
Real mistake by Engel that time, who really needed to make up his mind earlier, or better yet, get away from the football.
Get away. How many players? They just will not do it, will they? They're going to stand there and try to dance around it while it hops, and then he actually forced himself into touching the football. Mistakes. The interception, which led to one, and now here's another one. It changes field position, puts Washington Township. Now just get away from the football. Get away. Where is he thinking about? And he actually moved himself right into it. And
well, I think he was thinking about picking it up until he looked up and saw blue shirts around him. Second time, as you mentioned, Mike, that Washington Township has had a short field. They'll start on the 39 of Shawnee, 1st and 10. Cantwell really struggles to get past the line of scrimmage that time. As quickly in was Shawnee's Steve Toll.
Well, we talked earlier about Washington Township's defensive line just beating the offensive Shawnee to the punch. The last 2 series and this play here, the same thing is happening with the Shawnee defensive line, where they're beating the offensive line from Washington Township, which is really what forced the 2 punts in the last 2 series and held them to a yard on that play.
2nd and 9. Calacura, a little delay give this time to David Darby, and Darby scurries forward across the 30 to the 29. That should be enough for a Washington Township first down.
Nothing fancy here, is it? Let's just take the ball and give him the straight ahead run to Darby and see if he can finally find some kind of opening, and he does exactly that. He doesn't need much of one. In fact, steps out of the first block and then pulls the second man along with him, twists himself, and I'm sure the coaches, each time they see that in the sideline, say, hey, you got enough, Darby. Go down now. We're worried about that hamstring.
Darby, of course, the son of former Eagle Byron Darby, who played 6 seasons in the NFL, 4 with the Eagles. Well, swing pass is overthrown by Calacura. Unfortunately for Washington Township, nobody behind. Now there are flags thrown in late on this play. We'll have to see if there was a little action after the whistle.
Well, they're pointing at blue shirts, aren't they?
Yeah, it could be an illegal receiver downfield. We'll have to wait and see. Here comes the call. Jack Menken, our referee.
Dead ball foul. Personal. Offense.
Boy, you got to know that Coach Tom Brown is not going to be happy about that one. There he is. Historically has coached from atop the press box. 25th season, and what a job he's done here at Washington Township. You see his career numbers, and they're becoming very significant, at least his all-time career winning number.
Yeah, with 192, he sits at number 4 of the coaches, all-time coaches in South Jersey, tied with Vince McEnany, former Pennsauken High School great coach. He'll move beyond him today if he gets a victory. Only 3 guys in front of him.
Now, this is really a critical penalty, though. The 15-yarder now sends it all the way back to the 43. Second and eternity right now for Washington Township. They go with a little screen pass. Cantwell's got a block, and he's got another one all the way inside the 30-yard line down to the 21. That is just a couple of yards shy of a first down.
Absolutely important on the screen pass for the quarterback to sell it first. Quarterback has to sell it, has to convince the opposing linebackers and safeties that he's going to throw downfield. He does that by looking away and then comes across, watch the block by Nizak 50 and Ryan Wash 66 or 67 made, or that was Patterson 66, and then Nizak downfield. And I tell you what, when you're a fullback on that play, you love to see that blocking open up the way that did.
Boy, give Luke Bonus some credit, though. He got a big lick from Nizek and then got in on the tackle. 23-yard pickup, 3rd and short inside Cantwell to the 20. And that will be very close to a first down, but I think just shy. It'll be a big 4th and short for Washington Township.
Cantwell shakes his head, comes back to the huddle and says, give me the ball again, I can get it.
They're going to call.
I'll tell you what, look at the spot he got, huh? I didn't think he got past the stripe myself.
Forget the spot. Look at those guys. Now they do mark that ball past, and we'll call for the chains with 4:58 to go here in the first half. This is a critical measurement.
It doesn't surprise me if he gets it now. I didn't think he had gotten beyond the stripe.
There it is, just shy.
Just shy.
Well, you got to believe that the coaches at Washington Township think they can pick that up. Although, look at where they're standing, Mike. One of the places in this field that is not in the best of shape.
I don't do anything except Calicura goes straight ahead. If I'm coaching, it's going to be just not going to take a chance on a handoff, going to get the first down with the quarterback. But remember, he's the 4th best.
They've got a big line in front of Calicura, so you would think that would be the play with that short. But let's see. Critical 4th down for both teams here. Washington Township with a 3-0 lead. Threatening here with a 4th and less than a foot. They'll give it to Darby, and Darby's met right at the line of scrimmage, and again, it's just going to depend on the spot. I think he's got enough.
Got a great spot. Right where the ball was seen to go forward, even though he gets pushed back with his body. I think the linesman gives him, watch the forward progress, right to there, and the linesman comes in from the far side, and even though he's pushed backwards, he gives him the spot. And looks to me like first down this time. Yeah,
the ball actually, Mike, got to Dan McDonald, so you really use number 4 in white as a mark there, and if you use that, it's a pretty legitimate spot, and I think he's got just enough for the first. Here's the measurement and a good look at it. There you go. The length of the football, and the drive continues for Washington Township.
Well, not Tom Brown kind of play, but this is a super spot right here for a play-action pass. Find somebody wide open in the end zone after they've been struggling to get the first downs and the defense tightening up. Give them a little fake inside and then toss it. But you don't see Brown do that too often.
Well, this drive started on the 39 after a muff punt, and they've already run 7 plays, 4 minutes and 42 seconds off the clock. First down, they split the eye. Calicura with a late give to Holmes. Holmes through the middle and down to the 5-yard line. Bonus and McDonald hanging on. They drop him at the 4.
Yeah, you want to talk about straight ahead blocking, man-on-man blocking, and how to do it. You've got to watch this play over and over again because it's just strength on strength. Oh, look at this. Buried them on the defensive side of the ball, and then Holmes says, I got a head of steam going up. Now you're not going to stop me. I can read end zone. Fights and tries to get there, doesn't quite make it, but hey, he deserves to have his number called again, doesn't he?
Well, that was a great play, and as you see, you saw in the replay, just a little overplay by the linebacker that time, and that gave room.
Bubba Miller and Nizek just were great over there.
First and goal, Ryan Cantwell can't get by Luke Bonus that time, who met him head on at the 2. We'll see where the spot of the football is. It looks like they're going to spot it at about the 3.
Yeah, remember, they were down inside the 5 right on their first drive after the interception and weren't unable to get in and had to settle for the field goal. How about this? The way the Shawnee defense comes alive here. This is a real ton coming at you, and to stop and look at this sophomore again, Bonus. How many times we called his number? Number 9 coming up strong along with Foreign, number 19, the linebacker.
Well, the thing that you got to be concerned about, however, you're Shawnee, well, the first thing, obviously, is to make a stop. But the second thing is you get the ball back. There's not much time. We're down under 3.5 to play here till halftime. Washington Township has controlled the clock. Cantwell, a little more room on the left side this time, but he still can't get in.
When are they going to blow the whistle here, huh?
Maybe down to the 2, but it'll be 3rd and goal.
Running at Blazek, that hasn't been a good place to go all day. Number 79, Ryan Blazek, has been very, very strong. Let's see if he's able to fight in there. He'll come along, but it's Kellum who's at the bottom.
Well, Kellum has had a terrific first half for Shawnee, and they are still 2 yards shy after that run. Well, they've done it once right, once left. What do you think, Mike? 10th play of the drive coming up.
It's got to be the fullback again. Come on, which means they'll run Darby.
Darby is to the left of Cantwell. Holmes in motion to the left side, and they'll come to Darby. Darby caught in the backfield. Flag on the play. That's well away from the play. But making the stop for Shawnee was Chris Foran. A big loss back to the 7-yard line. But let's wait and see about the yellow flag.
I wonder if it's a motion on Holmes if he turned upfield. Remember, he went motion opposite way.
Well, if it is, you certainly would decline this one, and it looks like that's what Shawnee intends to do.
Illegal procedure. Offense.
All right.
Well, they'll take the 5-yard penalty. They'll decline the 5-yard penalty and take the loss right here on a great play by Foran.
Well, that's the way to read, huh? Cover your territory, get into the backfield in a hurry. Not only stopping from the touchdown, but throwing for the loss.
Wait, how about this Shawnee defense? A lot of pressure on their defense in this first half. The offense has not had the ball very much at all, and they have stopped 2 Washington Township drives now.
2 minutes.
And for the second time, Washington Township will try to settle for a field goal. They already have a 25-yarder. This will be from 24 away for Sean Logan. And we have a timeout on the field. 1:53 to go till halftime. Shawnee has used a timeout. They'll try to ice the kicker. We'll be back for the field goal try right after these words. A 24-yard field goal attempt coming up by Logan to make it 6-0 for Washington Township. We've got a jump by the Shawnee defense.
Dead ball, but it's a foul immediately. It's got to cost them 5.
Well, it won't be enough for the first down. Remember, this is 4th and goal, but do you change your decision now? Let's see.
Dead ball foul. Encroachment. Defense.
Interesting decision here now, huh? Then they're going to call timeout and think about it.
And they will. Washington Township will call their first timeout. 1:53 left to go. We've got a timeout on the field.
They take this time to thank Dave Smith and the maintenance crew and the grounds crew for getting this field in such great shape. Have a nice round of applause for Dave Smith and the grounds crew for a tremendous job they've done since the snowstorm on Thursday.
Of the football at the 3-yard line after the timeout. Washington Township has decided to go for it. They'll pitch it to Holmes. Dan Holmes, touchdown!
Well, the timeout. Communication from the top of the booth from Tom Brown, the head coach, one of a couple in the South Jersey go up there, down to Jerry Tarashi, his defense coordinator, and a guy on the field has been with him for so many years. They talk it over, they decide to go for it, and a lot of people say, nah, let's go take the shot for the short points. Instead, they pick up the 6. That's a big decision, and more importantly, a outstanding run and read by Holmes out of the backfield.
And a big difference between 10 or 11 nothing and 6 nothing. Washington Township has to use a timeout though before this extra point, so the clock stopped once again with 1 minute 49 seconds to go. So the extra point attempt upcoming. Washington Township didn't have to take a timeout to talk about this. They just needed to get organized. So they'll try to tack on the 1 extra point. The kick is up. It struggles just through. That knuckled. I don't know whether it was hit at the line of scrimmage, perhaps partially blocked, but that barely got over the crossbar, and that's a big extra point. 1:49 left to go here till halftime. Wow, what a turn of events here. Washington Township now on the strength of really 2 mistakes by Shawnee. 1 interception, 1 a muff punt. They lead it 10-0.
And it might have been 3 mistakes because, well, we won't see it here. Holmes gets the benefit of a poor defensive adjustment by Shawnee. Washington Township came out with a double slot to the left side, 3 men that way, and Shawnee only had 1 defender, and then finally late another one slotted over into that area, but that allowed the blockers to have an extra man in front of Holmes, and Dan took advantage of it. The senior gets one of the biggest touchdowns of his career. So it's actually 3 mistakes.
Yeah, 11 plays, 40 yards, 7:29 off the clock. Capped off by the touchdown by Holmes. There's a look at the lopsided time of possession. And honestly, Mike, I had the opportunity to talk with Tim Gushu before the game, and that right there was one of his major concerns.
Well, he just knew that with the strength of that offensive line, as big as they are, that you let them run enough plays, they're just going to beat you up enough that sooner or later a seam opens up and away they go with the speed of the 2 guys, at least Holmes and Darby, in the backfield.
Another line drive kickoff. That's been the strategy here today. It's tipped around and finally into the hands of Chris Foran. Foran still on his feet, and Cooper and a host of blue shirts will drive him back, but not before the forward progress is marked at the 31-yard line. Now, if you're Washington Township here, Mike, you have to be concerned about the ability of Shawnee to hit a big play, and Kurtz and McDonald have done that time and time again over their 3-year time together as starters on this Shawnee team.
Now, I'm Shawnee. 10-0 is a score I'm happy to go in at halftime with. I sure don't want to throw a pass up there. I have another interception by one of those big guys like we saw early in the game when D'Imperio picked off that one. You don't want to give him another one here.
Now, coming from behind in the playoffs is nothing new to Shawnee. They were down 21-0 before rallying in the 4th quarter against Toms River North to reach this Group 4 final in what has been termed by everybody almost one of the most amazing comebacks in playoff history in New Jersey.
And Toms River North, of course, was the #1 seed. This was not just a team that made the playoffs.
You saw the pass there out to Bill Gartland, good for 8 and at the sideline, which stopped the clock. 2 timeouts remaining for Shawnee. Just 1 for Washington Township here in the first half, 2nd and short.
They can use the whole field now because the first down will stop the clock, and then get back to the line quickly after that.
Inside handoff to Rick Engel. They were just trying to pick up the first down, and they do. That will stop the clock, at least to move the chains out to the 43.5-yard line. Shawnee quickly at the line of scrimmage.
Big hole here, but look how quickly they close it down again. They handle their blockers and then slide to the point of attack. Good job done.
Kurtz from the shotgun, again out to Gartland at the 50-yard line. It's complete, but the clock will continue to run 1:17 to go, and the Renegades again quickly at the line of scrimmage.
You know, you have the sense they've practiced this drill quite a few times, don't you?
Kurtz again from shotgun. Engel, the lone blocking back. He puts a block on the play, and then there is a complete inside the 30-yard line all the way down to the 27 is David Kellum. Kellum's had an outstanding day on defense, now getting into the act offensively.
And again, the clock stops now just under a minute, 59 seconds to play, but they stop it for that first down. That part of your repertoire when you're running 2-minute drill, realize that. Out of bounds or first down.
Kurtz started slowly in this one, but you don't want to get this guy on track. Here comes the pressure. He's dropped back at the 39. Well, Shawnee will have to think about stopping the clock here, and they do. They call their second of 3 timeouts with 43 seconds left till halftime.
Shawnee calls his second time out of the half. Second down, 23. The ball at the Washington Twp 39-yard line.
So the third sack of the ball game for Washington Township has Shawnee second and long. Kurtz, will it be a flag there? No, they say he was out of the pocket and therefore not an intentional grounding. Once again, pressure put on, and I mean heavy pressure from Justin Deal, who already has a sack in this one.
Justin is having a ball, isn't he, with his whoever it is trying to block him. But I don't know if they used 1, 2, or 3 different guys, but Deal has just been tossing him aside and coming full bore when he expects it. What he's seeing now, which is Kurtz back trying to get something launched downfield.
So Mike, if you're Shawnee, you've got to be thinking that in the next 2 plays, or at least the next play, I'm sorry, it's 3rd down and 23. You've got to pick up about 19 yards, I think, for any kind of legitimate attempt at a field goal.
I think they're just looking to try to keep the drive alive, probably.
3rd and 23. Kurtz going over the top, tried to get Kellum and nearly did. Maybe at the last second the ball was tipped away by Anthony Cianci. I got it. Sooner or later. There you go. Cianci gets a hand up
yes, he
late.
Does.
I don't know whether Cianci actually touched it or whether or not he just threw off the timing. Kurtz led Kellum a little too long that time.
34 seconds.
Well,
now you do have to go for the first down. They have 1 timeout remaining, so anything inside the 16.5-yard line will stop the clock. But that's still a long way. 4th and 23. Kurtz again under pressure. He gets rid of it.
That should be a flag.
This time that will be a flag. D'Imperio.
It's irrelevant. Going to be Washington Township football in any event.
Boy, what a great last 3 plays for this Washington Township defense, who saw Shawnee go all the way to the 26.5-yard line and then turned on the motivation. They're talking it over with each other, and Ryan Cadwell, of course, in there for Washington Township, trying to listen in.
It's just a loss of down and turn the ball over right there. Let's go. Shouldn't be that much talk, I don't think, unless something happened we didn't know about.
But I think you do take the penalty, do you not, Mike? Because it's loss of down, and so you get the yardage.
Intentional grounding. Offense. Loss of down. First down.
There it is.
Yeah, and that's the critical part of what happened, because this gives the ball to Washington Township on the 45 of Shawnee. One timeout, 27.3 seconds. So, you know, they pick up 30 yards or so, and they could tack some more on. Average starting field position so far in the first half for these teams: Shawnee, their own 32, Township, their own 45. So not only have they controlled the clock, but they've controlled the field position so far.
And taken advantage of it. That's why, you know, it looks like they're holding the ball so long. They really quite a bit of time when you consider they haven't had that many yards to go. Normally you'd think a 7-8 minute drive would be 80, 90 yards.
1st and 10. Calacura to throw. Going over the top and incomplete. Luke Bonus thought about picking it off. I'm not quite sure why he didn't. And I think you'll hear about it from the coach. I mean, I know you're deep in your own area, but what this does, Mike, is give him another shot with 20 seconds.
He looked around afterwards as he was talking to a couple of more seasoned players in the defensive backfield, as if he was saying, I thought it was in the end zone already, and didn't want to take a chance here of maybe starting to run out and get caught on the 1 or 2 yard line.
Kellum walked over and gave him a little tap on the helmet, like it's okay. But I think you want the football there if you can. Bonus had an opportunity.
Tripp's right.
All the way at the bottom of your screen on 2nd and 10. Calacura under pressure this time. Big hit, and he takes off. Kellum will try to chase him down and gets him. The clock will continue to run as he did not get out of bounds at the 37-yard line. And Township, the coach is frantically calling for a timeout, and they finally get it with 1.4 seconds to go. But look at this run by Calacura.
Hey, look at the run, and I'm sure the coaches at this point are saying, I like the run, but hey, guy, you got a whole half to play again. Do you really want to take a shot like this? And it appeared to me that he, in fact, had gotten out of bounds, but
Of 9 yards on that quarterback scramble by Calacura. 3rd down, 1 yard to go.
So Washington Township uses their final timeout and will have one play with 3 seconds remaining here in the first half. Remember, a half can't end on a defensive penalty, so Shawnee's got to be careful not to make a mistake here. 3rd and short, but Calacura will try to get it all here. In the flat, they tried to get it to Holmes. It falls incomplete, and the first half comes to a close. Well, Washington Township has taken advantage of a couple of Shawnee mistakes in the first half, and at halftime of the South Jersey Group 4 Championship, they lead it 10-0. Stay tuned. We'll be back with second half action in a moment.